Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Primetime Sunday. Welcome to our show, What Catch Your Heart? And this is where we discuss pertinent issues that are dear to the hearts of our guests. Today, What Catch Your Heart is our third What Catch Your Heart series. And we want to welcome all our viewers across the globe. This is focused on Liberia Broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. On What Catch Your Heart, we simply asking what are the issues. We know there are a plethora of issues dear to the hearts of many Liberians regarding the growth and development of our country. Tonight, we're going to be sharing just one at a time, and if we have time, we're going to share more. Joining me for this show, we have Mr. Tony Lewe joining us from Minnesota. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Also, joining us is our Focus on Liberia Health contributor, Abigail Tyler. Abby, welcome to Focus on Liberia. You are on mute.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Joining us for the first time on Focus on Liberia is Pee-wee Besa. Pee-wee, we want to say welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And we're going to have a few more guests joining us later on to share what catch their heart. We're going to open the phone lines so that our viewers will call in and share, not to critique or not to even comment on what catches somebody's heart, but what catch your heart. So we want to start like this. Let me start with my friend Tony Lewe. Tony, what catch your heart?
Well, I think we are from a culture that respect women, so I will defer to my sister Abigail since she's the only female among us.
Okay, so starting with Abigail, we want you to briefly tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ladies first, you say.
Just 1 minute.
Oh, okay. My name is Abigail Tyler. Most people know me as Abby Tyler on Facebook. I am a family nurse practitioner, registered nurse for 22 years. I work in Philadelphia. I also run a health blog called Abby Tyler Healthy Living. I am married and 2 kids, and happy to be here to contribute in any way I can. And nice meeting my other panelists as well. Thank you.
Tony?
Yes, thank you. My name is Tony Lewe. I've been around the block for a while. I'm glad that the young lady is with us. She didn't look that she have a 22 years of life experience in working, but it's beautiful to see you. I been involved in politics for a while. I live in Minnesota. I actually have a degree in political science right here in Minnesota. I've worked with a couple of establishments, notably with the PYJ campaign in 2017. I was the chairman of the diaspora group, and later on the MDR, and I finally cut myself away from the political establishment due to some other issues that I can't explain right now. But I am always part of the political discussion in Liberia, and I'm glad to be here so that we can, talk about the issues that impact our lives and the lives of our people on the ground. There's so many of them, so I'm not sure if 4 of us can discuss all of it today, but I'm sure we can have the chance to discuss some of the issues that are currently unfolding in the country. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Tony. Let me go to our first time. And by the way, Pee-wee, since this is your first time, we offer you a cold water. Say welcome to Focus on Liberia. A little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to form part of the discussion that changed the trajectory of Liberia. Liberia stands at a pivotal role for all of us. So just a means of introduction, I'm Pee-wee Besa. I'm the vice president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, which Joe Macy is the president. So we have come here today to talk about, what are the issues that we'll be looking at, and then what AJO is actually doing to help shape the destiny of Liberia, especially in the arena of the Liberian journalists.
Thank you so much, Pee-wee. Thank you for what you expect. In a few minutes, we're going to, and we have few people that are going to be joining us. So let's start with Abby because Tony refused.
I didn't refuse. I just wanted for us to follow our cultural, values, it is always first. That's why we'll stand up when we find a woman standing up in the bus, or you know what I'm talking about. But I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Abby. What catch your heart?
Oh God, a lot of things catch my heart. But
I know, right?
I think first, I'm a health contributor, so I noticed we're all wearing glasses. That's neat, but just to put it out there, everybody should be getting the eyes checked at least once a year. Get a baseline, even if there's nothing going on with your eyes. Make sure you're getting your eyes checked once a year, checking your prescription and all that. So you should be wearing old prescription glasses because you're loosening the strength of your eyes. And also, if you're diabetic, it's very important that you get your eyes checked at least once a year and follow your doctor's recommendations as well. So, with that being said, I think what catches my heart, I think mainly the fact that when it comes to healthcare, our Liberian people like to make it seem as if to say like certain part of healthcare is opinion based when it's supposed to be fact based, evidence based. That's why I do my forum, and I also do a lot of fact based, evidence based information. And when it comes to healthcare, Liberian people just say things. Most Liberian people just say things. That's why sometimes I don't even get into any conversation when it comes to healthcare. And also, most of our people, they want to run the healthcare system in Liberia based on a crisis basis. They never seem to care about anything, or not as much when everything else is going okay. By the time, like, I think there's 2 fire situation in Liberia right now, and people talking about this and that, and let's pray. It's like, well, what's going on? Fire safety, all of that is all part of healthcare. That's why people don't understand healthcare encompasses like just about everything in that country. And people just play lip service until something happens. Like the coronavirus, nobody said, it's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Very laid back and lackadaisical. People are still going about their same thing until they started saying there's the Delta variant. Then everybody jumps up and say, oh my God, let's pray and let's do this. They're imploring all the health officials now to do something. But if you run the country, if you don't get prepared and you don't run the country the way it's supposed to be run, as far as healthcare or everything else, basically everything else, we're just going to be, it's like we're just reactionary every time. Healthcare should not be reactionary. That's what touches my heart today.
Thank you, Abby. And Tony, what's your take? For Abby, in Liberia, we are only, some of us in the diaspora, we're doing well for the country. But most of the time, according to Abby, we are reactive to crisis. After the crisis, what next? What do we do? What's your take on what catches Abby's heart?
I think what catches Abby's heart catches the heart of all Liberians, because the issue of healthcare in Liberia is such that our people are, like she said, laid back. There is no proactive system to help us. There is and this is lack of leadership from my standpoint. Imagine a whole referral hospital in Monrovia called GFK is allocated $100,000, while other agencies are getting millions of dollars for whatever purposes for which they're giving them that money. It appears as though the government of Liberia and our system has not been taking healthcare very seriously. I'm not even sure what is allocated to the entire Ministry of Health, but the issue of health is extremely important. Just yesterday, we had a fire situation. In fact, this morning, I should say, we have fire situation at the Rennie Hospital in Kakata, and virtually there was no fire service truck to even extend the beyond that. The issue was there before, based on the explanation of the guy who represented the hospital when he spoke to the news media that came around, that this issue of electricity problem has been going on there, and they didn't just, was not something that they checked to see who was in charge of it to do anything about it up until this building caught on fire. So we are a society, and it's a very sad thing for us. So we are hoping that in the future we'll have a system that is put in place so that everything can help to contribute to our healthcare needs. There are a lot of good nurses from our country who live here and who live also in Liberia. Well, I'm not sure if the logistics and those things that they need to work is given to them. Even rural Liberia is even worse, where people have been told in hammock from place to place just to be able to seek medical care when they are able to walk. So it's a very serious problem. So I do agree with her.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have two guests just joining us I have Tavina Cole, who's joining us from Texas. Tavina, if you can switch a little bit and there's a brighter background there.
Yeah.
Where you were is, or
let me change position. Let me go offline and change position.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
All right. And also, Abraham Dode is having some issue here connecting. And Ibrahim, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being on the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if there's a way to turn your phone sideways, but you got to put it in rotating view first.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do. You know, these gadgets, they got their own trouble. So
all right. So let's start with you. What catch your heart? First of all, before you say that, just say something about yourself so that my viewers will know you, and then you tell us what catch your heart.
Well, let me say hi to everybody on your show. I see some patriots faces on the platform, so I want to say hi to everybody. I'm Abraham Dudet. People call me chairman on Facebook, but I'm glad to be here. I'm a Liberian. I'm very passionate about the issue back home. I reside in the state of Alabama, so I'm happy to be here and to see, we can have an interactive exchange of views concerning Liberia. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So Abraham, what catch your heart?
Well, there's a lot of things that is on my heart.
All right. Before you express what catch your heart, something catch Abby's heart, and it's about healthcare. She's saying we are only reacting, and even some Liberians on Facebook, we don't pay attention to the professionals. We listen to other people telling us about healthcare, and that's the one we listen to. So that's what catch Abby's heart. So let's discuss that first before we go to yours. Dewey, what's your take on what catch Abby's heart?
And Abby, I want to say thank you to you because health is a serious crisis in Liberia. When you think about the issues, when you think about the health care that is provided in the stage of in developed countries, as opposed to what is being provided in Liberia, or what kills Liberians in Liberia, then it puts you in a situation to kind of wonder, then you kind of take dear to your heart the issue of health crisis in Liberia. So Abby is absolutely, she's right. Too often we even the professionals, we pretend about the issues in Liberia so much that we do not pay attention to the issues that matters, especially when it comes to health. So for me, I think she's on point and she's right about the crisis in Liberia. You wouldn't believe it, Anthony. The thing about it is that the issue that Emmy raised is dear to my heart because 2 years ago, my older sister, died at Redemption Hospital, and you wouldn't believe it. When I called, I was on the phone. I was on the phone when my sister died, and it really got to me. I sat in the bed and I cried for almost the whole day. And the simple reason why she died is because I wanted to transport from there to take her to Dusa Hospital, and the people didn't even have oxygen in the ambulance that was assigned to Redemption Hospital. So she started right there. She died with the baby in her stomach. The baby died and she died. So it tells you the health crisis in our country is just appalling. It's just. You can't even talk it. So I'm with Abby. It's something that we need to talk about consistently. But the sad thing is though, most of the policy makers in the country, they care less about the health crisis in the country.
Yeah.
So we can talk. All we want to talk about today on focus on Africa and on different policy table and all of that is not. I don't know what can we do to really solve the health crisis in our country involving the policy makers who are at the helm of power.
Thank you. I want to say welcome to Tavina. Tavina, we are talking about what catch Abby's asked, and Abby, just in 1-2 sentences, summarize what catch your heart.
Hi there, Savina. Oh, what I said was the healthcare sector in Liberia is just really reactionary as opposed to being proactive, because every time, and that's among the citizens as well as the people in charge, the politicians, those who are appointed and all. Because I think most of the main thing, because anything happens, they can always just come over here. They come here every year for the physical, and they can do everything outside of the country. So why would they care? And it doesn't seem like the citizens really care, because there's not a drumbeat every time for it. We just wait for one crisis after another crisis, and we become alert, and then we go back, and then we go back again, and we become alert. So it needs to be changed. That's my issue.
Pee Wee, what's your take?
Look, I have so many takes when it comes to the healthcare issue in Liberia. You can have a whole bucket list of what are the reasons that focus on those issues Abby just spoke about. Now, one of the things I want to focus on is basically leadership. Leadership is key to whatever sector flourishing that we want to see flourish. Two, another thing that you need to understand the system, making the system to work. Now, you can have every financial contribution to your country. The system has to be part that makes it work. Third, it has to be owned by the people. Now, many times I've heard us talk about how the country, the leadership, leave and go to other countries. And look, our people have a huge say into whatever happens in our country. How? If one thing that happened in the Western world is, if something is not happening for me, I'm going to make sure I get out there and protest and stand out there until it happens for me. We don't have that resilience as Liberians to do that. We don't have that courage to do that. So in order to, see our country just going where war, it's scattered of blames. And that's why I see in Liberia, blames are scattered all over the place. At one of those, 2019, I left from here, I went to Liberia. JFK has over 150 paramedics. I am trained as instructor for CPR and first aid. I trained all of the 150 paramedics at JFK. We provided them some oxygen. We provided them some equipment to help them do their work. We provided them some parts for their ambulance services. So it does not only have to begin with the government, it has to begin with us. And we have to be the bottom line of the whole process of making sure that things in our country work. I was just commenting to Abby's point, but what is on my mind today, basically, is the way Liberian journalists are looked at, have been treated, and the way the practice in Liberia. It's another huge topic that we can talk about for the whole day. But my focus here today is to talk about what we as an organization can do to help those Liberian journalists back home. And that is done through the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas.
Thank you. So what Catch Your Heart is about journalists in Liberia and the association. So you represent, you are from the Liberian Association of Journalists in the America, AJA.
Absolutely. I represent.
So in your view, what is the plight and what do you think people in America, including your organization, can do?
Now we've been doing a lot, and drop in the bucket can fill the bucket. It takes a long time to fill the bucket. So we've been in the vanguard of providing training. We've been in the vanguard of providing equipment. We've been in the vanguard of providing financial contribution and even full contribution to Liberian journalists. But that is not enough. One thing that we need basically is the creation of the environment that we who live in America, who have the expertise, can go back home and contribute that to our friends, our brethren who are practicing. First thing that to even practice in Liberia, it's just a nightmare. To practice journalism, I practiced journalism in Liberia for over 10 years. to practice journalism in Liberia today is like committing suicide. So how do we create an environment? It has to be the collaboration of the government, the collaboration of the media institutions, the collaboration of the journalists themselves, which comes to paid, which comes to training, which comes to other things that will help them to be able to be balanced and fair in doing the reportage. So the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas has always reached out to them. As I speak to you, we are organizing, in fact, yearly we organize our convention, and that convention brings to America. For the past couple of years, we've been having this organization. We've been able to bring to America over 40 to 50 Liberian journalists and train them and send them back home to go and contribute. But I don't care how much training you give somebody from here, from BBC, from Radio France, from whatever institution. One thing you should always be cognizant about is they are going back to the place where they don't even have the resources to be able to work or the material to be able to work with. So it's a challenge. So I will talk to you maybe in a program about what our plans are moving forward in reaching to nearly all of the Liberian journalists in Liberia.
Thank you. Davina, that's what
I have a question for Pee-wee.
Go ahead.
I'm a little bit curious because it appears to be as though every Dick and Tom can just get up and call themselves journalists in Liberia. Some of the people who are reporting, they can hardly speak the Queen language before you talk about journalism. I'm not sure how people are certificated or authorized to do journalism in Liberia. What is the criteria? Is your organization involved in crafting who becomes a journalist after a certain, level of training, and how is it done?
No, absolutely not. We're not involved in determining who becomes journalists in Liberia. So the Press Union of Liberia, which is the umbrella organization of all Liberian journalists, actually is the one that accredited these journalists to go out in the field. But again, listen to this. There are hundreds of Liberian journalists who are out there trying to make ends meet. There are hundreds of people who feel that the only way out to get what we call a little, income is just taking the microphone and go and put it in somebody's mouth. Their way I just stands. We don't want it that way. We don't think that is the journalism that I saw in 1997, 98 up to 1995. That is not the journalism we saw anywhere in Liberia. So what we can do is there is a proliferation of Liberian journalists, but the question is, are they trained? Do they have the requisite qualification? Do they have the materials to even work with? For me, I was trained by Radio France International, I was trained by BBC, and I was trained by other media outlets. So I had the training, I had the education. After the civil war we have in our country, there's a huge proliferation. Now, if you crack down on this issue of having journalists coming from everywhere, now you're going to begin with the media institution. What are the criteria set by the media institution to have? The president of Liberia, you can be a media or you can be a journalist in Liberia. You don't necessarily have to be a member of the president of Liberia. So the question is, what is that gatekeeper? Is it the media institutions that are just taking people from anywhere, from high school, and putting them in the street and giving them tape reporters? So where can we call a blockade? Where can we call an end to all of these proliferation? That way Asia comes in and say, look, I think we begin with training of those who are already on the field and provide them the requisite equipment they need to be able to do their broadcasting. My brother, you're 100% right. I was in Liberia a few years ago, and I listened to the radio. Trust you, I turned the radio off because of the kind of English I heard on the radio was just discouraging, and it was just so bad.
Thank you.
Just one question. I know you're always talking about government can do this and government can do that. Which regulating body regulates who, the journalism schools, who license them? I mean, before I became to even be a nursing assistant in this country, which I'm a instructor of, you have to go through all this to be that. I have to be an RN. I have to have a certain amount of hours in my field to teach that. I have to make sure I sign everything, their training, everything has to be like top, because when they come back to any kind of lawsuit, they're coming back to me. And then RN, and then and FP, family nurse practitioner, all of that. So the journalism thing is like anybody can just grab a microphone and just do it. Who's licensing these people? What's the regulating body? You always like to put government to the side, but you need people to regulate these things. I don't get that.
Okay, that's absolutely true. I definitely agree with you. That's absolutely true. The government needs to regulate as a
of information falsehood.
Oh, Pee-wee, Mr. Besa. Mr. Besa? Mr. Besa, Pee-wee. Hello?
Not hearing you.
Not responsible for the employees or that.
Mr. Besa.
So, disconnect.
Mr. Besa, can you hear me? All right. We can't hear him. We have to mute him for a while. I mean, the whole idea of journalism, especially in an area where, because of social media, so anyone with a cell phone and $5 data, you can be a journalist, right? I mean, I don't intend to put down anyone, but the way social media works now is like anybody can be a journalist. So that's a very fair question to see. How are these people regulated? And if we have Pee-wee back, he can help us. What happened to his microphone? Pee-wee, Mr. Besa.
He was still talking.
Mr. Besa? I think somebody called him. And that's what took his voice.
Dennis? And
Pee-wee. All right.
I think you should call him and let him know that.
Tavina, what's your take on the journalism issue?
Well, let me introduce myself again. I'm Talvina from Texas. Before we get to the journalism issue, I think I wanted to throw some light or add to what Abby had said about
yeah, sure.
The the state, the healthcare, the state of the nation as far as health. And it is concerning, very, very concerning. I mean, everything is upside down, and how they treat, how they regulate, it's an issue. Matter of fact, I'm not sure if you guys are even touch on the fire issue. I'm not going to go into the fire in the hospital, but the only reason I'm bringing that up because there was a health practitioner who mentioned that the first time they had power outage last night, they had to perform a surgery with candle or flashlight. Yes. And I cringed when I heard that. The liability, how is that patient doing with flashlights in this country? There has to be a disaster recovery plan. You cannot even let the light go off for even a minute. You know how many lives will be damaged. You know how many equipment, the system. Talk about lawsuit. And so I was like, what is going on in that place? And he probably said it to his, his credit. He was being helpful, to him, he was being a good Samaritan, but he wasn't seeing the big picture. So it is concerning. I think where I would differ a little bit with Abby when she said that, the people don't care. I don't think the citizens don't care. I think they're just fed up. That's how I see it. It's like, I'm talking about this thing over and over and over, and we're getting nowhere. The government doing nothing. Nobody's doing. So you know what? I'm tired of talking. We're just living now one day at a time and just, waiting for all of us to die, pretty much, or the worst can happen. We're used to this now. I think that's where the country has come to, and it is all around bad. That's what they've come to. Not that they don't care. I mean, there's some not care. We should, the ones in leadership who should care the most. We're talking about leading from the top. They don't care. But as far as the, common citizens, our brothers and our sisters, I think they're just fed up. They're just tired complaining. Who's going to listen? Who's going to change anything? That's how I see it,
And I think there's a little bit of both of that. There's so at the point where why keep complaining about something that we have and they're not going to fix it. We have no power over. And then you have the leaders who are just apathetic to anything. People were saying yesterday when Dennis on his show, oh yeah, now you have people who can protest. Now you have protests, you can Protest or what? You apathetic leaders. So you can protest from now till next year. Who cares? They're not gonna pay attention to you. When you get done, you go home. You know, like our Liberian people say, I won't go for when you get done, you go home.
True.
Yeah,
True. But as far as journalism, I think I agree with you guys about the journalism. I made a post sometime last week or this week, and I said, why everybody just speaking big English and big words and think it's a cool thing or it shows smartness.
Yep.
Everybody, I pick, I be use one big word and then I pick it up and 100 people pick it up and all the journalists pick it up and it becomes a song. Come on. So some of them I train, to Dennis' point too. Some of them, I know some journalists in Liberia that truly went to school, in Ghana, in Liberia, and they're really passionate. But then you got the ones that just think they got some iPhone from some relative sent from here, and they got that $1 data, and they can report anywhere. And there's no, there's no regulation about it. There's no training. They don't even when it comes to gender issue, how they interview those victims and survivors and whatever it is. You listen to someone and just like, what is this? Who's treating who? Who's certifying who here? So there's a lot to be done. But as far as what's on my mind, if we get to that, just the overall state of the nation and how people are outraged and there's the rapid decline of the nation. We can spend all night, all day, discussing all the different factors. But for me, that's just, if you ask me for one sentence, that's it right there. That's all.
So Tavina, let me just understand your issue, what Ketch you had. This rapid decline, when did it start?
Well, I'll be very honest. I'm not a sympathetic of any government, neither am I part of any party, so I can independently and freely speak. It started a long time ago. I've been old enough to know, almost 50 to know that it started a long time ago. What is concerning the most is that with this leadership, it's even faster than before. And they don't even care. At least other people, I've been around for dual government. People proud of talk more, but one of them, a different government, Ellen a little bit, but at least we're making some little strides in the right direction. These ones, they don't even care. They don't even care for the that's the basic necessities of life. Those things that will keep your citizens happy or whole or whatever it is. They're just, stealing to say the least, that's all. It's our time to eat pretty much, and that's the slang, And so for me, that's it. It started a long time ago, but now it's on a higher rise, and right. It's just openly with no penalty, with no repercussion or anything of that matter. And that's what's concerning to the most.
Tony, is decline on steroid?
So Dennis, that brings me to what actually.
Let's discuss what Ketch. Let's discuss what Ketch Tavina's had first.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah. So, what's your take?
This is on steroid now, because these guys who are living in the slums just a few years ago now are living in mansions, and they can fly private jet to go out to Ghana with girlfriend for treatment, health checks, come to America anytime they want. And the people who we elected and called legislators are even worse. They're allocating funds for themselves as opposed to for the people, and there's no social service agenda from this government, so to speak, for the people. So the other side of it is that the Liberian people themselves usually just sell their votes for $1 or $2 because they want to eat today. So I am not sure at what point we got to this magnitude of the neglect in the country, and certainly I agree with her. And to me, there's no leadership in the country as I see it. There's a bunch of men and women, I should add, who are just interested in self-greed, and everything that is done is based on what can go in their individual pocket and bank account, and not what the people are interested in. It's not intended to safeguard against anything that is going on around the people. Look at the COVID-19 situation. Look at the amount of money that is even allocated in the budget. Look at the hospitals in Liberia and how there's lack of everything. How many times have you heard that the government librarian have sent 100 Liberian smart and best students for study in, let's say, a place like Cuba? I'm not even talking about America or India, for example.
Yeah.
I don't care. You don't we just got scholarship to send these people. Everything they are doing is intended for their own preservation, and this is very scary. So to me, it's lack of leadership, and I agree with the sister.
Quick question: when they send those people, I just want to ask that when they send those people overseas for training, do they sign any contract stating that they will come back to Liberia and work for a certain amount of time? Because if you're getting trained, and or even if they're paying your student loans at an employer over here, you sign a contract that you're going to be with that employer for a certain period of time. Are these people not coming back for that? I don't know what the contracts.
Let me respond to that. To me, if I were in leadership and I attempt to educate Liberians, I'm not one of those who subscribe to sending people outside the country. I mentioned that because they get scholarship from these people from the various embassies in Liberia, but I would rather bring the people to Liberia to train the people in the various institutions in Liberia so that it can have a larger impact on the majority of the students than just sending people, one or two people out. I certainly support that concept. I was just saying that because people believe that when they go to India, they come to America and get one or two paper to submit to the people in Liberia, then they are better educated than the people in Liberia. That is not always true, but they have better understanding of what is going on here, and they have that caring heart for what they do.
But let me ask this question.
I've seen people who go to a hospital for treatment, they are turned away. This is the kind of healthcare system we have.
Because no capacity. Okay, let's look at it this way. Because with this current government, Stavina made a case that is like decline on steroid. Is it that because we close to those in power? Because sometimes you have the same thievery, but that because we don't know the people when they are big shot, maybe we don't know them. But because we are close to a current group in power, we are sometimes the same age group or from the same neighborhood, and we saw this guy sleeping on the floor yesterday. So for him to build a mansion, it makes us to wonder, is it because of that, or these guys are actually better compared to their predecessors?
Is a question for me?
I mean,
everybody.
Okay. I'll jump there. Look, to me,
let me give you an example. Like the city mayor right now, right? Tamba Koji. Koji does not have a college degree, and I was told Mary Braw, who was the city mayoress too, did not have a college degree. So both, high school graduates were. So if we are looking at Koji, oh, he didn't go to college, then what's about Mary Braw, right? I'm not saying that. Is it that we know these people, that's why their incompetence is so glaring?
I don't think it's because we know them personally. I've met McGee here. We have had meetings and so forth. I have met Koji in person. I have interacted with many of some of these guys. I shouldn't say many. It is not, to me, it's not about knowing them personally. The looting, I call it looting, is glaring, where they don't have funds allocated for the critical places where they need to service the people. I mean, we see it, and it's broad day looting of the resources. Imagine, like I just said, the legislators are allocating money for legislative outreach. They are allocating money for legislative engagement in their districts. Meanwhile, they are paid between $15,000 to $20,000 a month. So what are you getting the money for? What are you being paid all this money to do? What is really your function? Is it to go? I mean, listen to if I'm sure you have seen legislators in Liberia arguing among themselves.
Yeah, and to me, let's be brief. People want to call in now.
Go ahead, my brother.
It's okay if I come in.
Yeah, sure. All of you.
Abi, you want to speak? I can.
No, go defend your point.
Okay. So no, I wanted to speak to the question Dennis asked, but also Abby, I wanted to speak to the question when you asked that, if people don't sign contract when they come to study, all of that. I know based on, friends and whoever else that come on government contract, and even including my own dad, many, in the 80s or whatever it is, they were supposed to come to school here and go back home. So I don't know now with this new government, the new arrangement, but I know this was to study and go back home.
Yes.
Because my dad had to do the same thing. But Dennis, to your point, you give the example about coaching and the education, and we're just using it as a case in point. Education is not all to it. They got people here who have no education, but they have many years of experience performing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, in as much as you don't have education, but if you have the capability to perform the role that you've been given to do, and you can perform it very well, I'm fine with that. But we have seen that not only do they not have the skills, the knowledge, or the experience to do the work, they just can't do it. They don't have the know-how. They're not even making effort to do it, because sometimes you get on the job, maybe 20% or 30% of the work, but then you find ways to learn, whether it be self-learning or going to college or, getting with the next co-worker. I'll be on the job and I pair her because she's been there for a long time. She knows all the ropes and all of that. But these people are making no effort. I mean, for all we can see, they're making no effort. They're making no effort to do well. They're making no effort, So for me, education out the door. Perform. I'm looking at performance.
I take a little. People always say education is not important, and that's the reason why this president is in power now. But one of the many reasons, that just certain jobs. I'm sorry. There are just certain jobs that you have to have some basis of higher education for, or some kind of technical know-how. Yes. What is Jefferson Koji's skill set? I mean, you're governing a city, the capital city of not major country, of one of the first independent republic in Liberia. I think people say about 2 million people reside in Monrovia. Uh-huh. And you're expecting this person who has no knowledge. We have a Liberian mayor over here in Montana, Helena, Montana, smaller population. He's required to have so much more knowledge and know-how and everything. And you're saying Jefferson Koji, he can just be there and, there's certain thing you can just, you can learn certain things.
No, I'm not saying he can't.
And it's not just you, though. You have to have background knowledge. You have to have some background knowledge in managing things. Because that's the thing when George Weah, as soon as he got his master's, now he can run a country. That's not how it works. You can manage a country of 2 million, a city of 2 million people, and just say, I'm just going to wing it. Even when Mira Brawl was there, she was doing her thing. What did she leave? What was her legacy? You can beat people into submission, and then when you leave, there's nothing there to say, what's the job description? We all live in America. That's what the one thing catches my heart too. We all live in America, or most of us live in America and exposed to Western knowledge, or even other places in America, in the world, and we see how a functional government works. We see it. That's like my friend George Pamela was saying, everything that needs to happen in Liberia has already happened somewhere else. All you have to do is take that format, take it to Liberia and tweak it around culturally and make it work. But there's no accountability. There's no retribution for anything. So it's like every day we just put our hands up and say, oh my God, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. You know what's going on. There's no accountability, period. And you need a baseline knowledge to work for the country to function properly, period. I mean,
Thank you, Harvey. Tony, what catch your heart?
What actually caught my heart, for which I came on this show, is lack of leadership in Liberia, and that's exactly what we're talking about. And it is in almost every sector of the country. It is so serious that our country is literally, I don't know, the downward turn is just too serious. I mean, we are not moving anywhere. In fact, things have deteriorated to the extent that you see the Indian man who was ambassador in Liberia just recently feeding Liberians, and they are standing in queue just to go and get a plate of rice or food, whatever it is that's offered them. That is how bad Liberia has become, and to the extent that those who are in leadership, when they get the minute something touched their toe, they run into Ghana or America or somewhere else for medical, or India. That's the bigger place now they go for medical checkup and treatment. I think it is serious. So lack of leadership in Liberia is what really bothering me. And I believe that we can unite to take care of that particular situation. And I believe strongly that we have people now in the race who are capable and competent to bring some sanctity to this leadership. I mean, it's not just the lack of leadership at the Monroe City Corporation. It is within out of the major areas where people just get up and point one another to position. We have
but Tony, when
yes.
last did we have leadership? Because put it in context. When was the last time we had leadership?
We have a resemblance of. I was one of those who wrote against Ellen government extensively, but we have a resemblance of leadership under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. To be honest with you,
I want to come in for 30 seconds.
Yes.
I was in no way trying to imply that education is not important. So I mentioned so I mentioned that even if somebody can have at least 30% or 50% under their belt, and then they can learn as they go. So I don't know Koji or education level, but just from threads on Facebook, I heard that he's never had that role. So if he had a little bit of it, because I'm somebody who value education. I mean, obviously, and
there's something called continuing education in this country. If you get a job where you don't have the knowledge, you can help yourself by reading material that relates to that.
Self-empowerment, but I don't want people to look at it from, because you must have this experience. Yeah, I understand that certain roles we must be certified. I carry almost 7 certifications, 5 or 7 about this time, and working on more. But I understand for certain things, if you have certain baseline knowledge, you can add to it on certain roles. I wouldn't say, they must have a degree and all that. The way some people say, run with it on Facebook and say, he must have this, and whoever else must have this certain role. I can't jump out and just go be a medical doctor. No, I can't. I could be practicing. I must be certified. I must pass state board, and I make sure that I'm a subject proof that I'm a subject matter expert in that area to do it. But then certain things, even in America, it just require high school and college level.
What did OG do before becoming mayor? What did he do before becoming
I don't know these people.
No, I don't believe he did anything. Tony, before you come in, because you talk about leadership, what is responsible? Who is responsible for the lack of leadership that you see?
Well, the thing about it is that when you take a car boy, somebody who hanging in the car and putting people in the car in Liberia, we call them car boys, right? Mm-hmm. If you take one of those people and make that person a pilot of a plane, will you be brave to get in that plane to fly?
No.
Without training? This is exactly what a leadership of Liberia is. The people elected somebody who was playing soccer. It was based on popularity. This is all they had. There was nothing.
We're beating a dead horse on that one. I know.
I'm sorry,
educational people disappointed them, so anything else would have.
Yeah, that was already established. If this man could not manage a soccer team, he couldn't manage his own property. He couldn't manage his own. I understand they had a restaurant. They had even had a boutique. Now, charity begins at home. So if you can't manage the little things, you cannot govern a whole nation. I don't care how what should I say? You can be a visionary, see in your sleep or whatever the word. It's just not happening. It is not an overnight thing. I don't care who says that. Cuss me up. I don't care.
So are you saying democracy is bad for us because it's democracy that got it there?
Not bad. Democracy.
Yeah, why for us? Why should it be us?
No, it's not for us. It's not bad. Like I said, you can tweak anything that's been done somewhere else and put it in Liberia and fix it in a way where it fits culturally. But democracy is not bad for us. The reason why people are saying, the educated people disappointed us. Well, you can't say because the educated person disappointed us, so we're just going to go completely the other way around. I said it when George Weah was elected before. I said if he surrounds himself with really and let's put patriotic. You surround people who are like really strong-minded people who are educated, people who will be able to stand behind him and tell him to his face. You can have people around you. You can have people in your inner circle who will tell you, you know what? Let's do it this way. Then he sit people down and say, tell me exactly what it is that you think I'm doing wrong and all that, and let's try to fix it. But you have all these sycophants on Facebook, and you have people coming, especially yesterday, your house Liberia is so much better now than never. I'm like, no, can you not see? I mean, what do you say? I know you've been promised something. First of all, the other one, when the finance minister was going to be on, he was going to be arranging the time for him to be on. Politics, all of it. That's what when I commented yesterday. All of it. I mean, political appointee. That is politics. So it's like you can still do things. Democracy is not wrong for us, but African democracy, where you have educated people to do the things that needs to be done to get the country forward, you need that. And not basically formal education, but there's certain things you have to be formally educated and trained and have the skills to do it, not just the education and just say, "Boop, I'm ready to be mayor. I'm ready to be this. I'm ready to be that." I mean, I heard Jefferson Koji speaking before at different functions, the one he did overseas a couple of years ago.
Please don't go there.
I'm like, that's okay. It's okay, Mayor. You don't have to. Just speak your regular way. You don't have to. Don't impress these people because you're not impressing them. You know, and then somebody who's not educated will try to impress people who already know what to say.
All right.
Well, I'm sure I'm going to get this. I just know it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joining us, this is our segment, What Catch Your Heart? And this is where we discuss issues pertinent to our country and dear to our lives. And I have something that catch my heart as well. And I'm going to play a video, and then from there, I'll tell you what catch my heart. In the video, you see the mom is working.
That kid in the tree. Oh.
All right. Whether it's true or false.
Are you serious?
Whether it's true or false, you see that the mom is working. They have to work. This baby is crying. The mom had a baby on her back before, but she got to work. You got to do what you got to do. So you let the tree put the baby on its back.
Wow. That is
and why
survival the fittest.
Whether it's true or not. It's just one of those Facebook videos, right? But what it remind me of my own mother, how my mother suffered for me and other mothers that are suffering. So most of our mothers, they played so many roles in our life. You could see they're the farmer, the business person, the nurse in the home, the chef, and everything else. But in our society, what catches my heart here is women still, we have not taken them to the level, or we have not done so much to make our women treat them the same way we treat men. I was looking at when the market women, as they call them in Liberia, when they drove them from the market and they built a new place for them to go. When they went to the Omega market, they never had tables, right? So they said, well, we sell every day to eat. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our tables out here and start selling, because the government said, give us time, at least 2 weeks. We're going to make sure you have tables. So they started to demonstrate. So they put their tables out there, and the government went again and cleared those tables. So the women got in the street to demonstrate. And I kept wondering to myself, I wonder if this were main organization, the government was going to treat them the same way. Or is it because they are women? So I still think that with all the things women do for us in Liberia, we don't still have them at the level they're supposed to be. That's what catch my heart.
Thank you.
Certainly.
I think that the issue you just alluded to is a very serious one. In fact, I think a few days after the ladies went there, the people went there to sell, because the men and women sell in the market. So let's remember that. There was a flood, there was a rain in Nigeria that messed the whole place up, and it was standing in that mud all day trying to figure out what to do. And I'm not sure to what extent the government has taken care of that place. But the relocation itself, why I do agree that it was a good idea to relocate them. Army and the facility that they relocated them to were not properly prepared for them. I mean, the place is, I think, it's a swampy land, and the government did not take into account that we need to have this place cemented so that these people will live, will sell in a conducive atmosphere. After all, that's a place we buy food to eat, or like people buy food to eat. So I'm not sure why the government sent those people there by force without going through the right preparation. But I agree with you. My mother was a victim of the situation you just explained, but I don't believe that she would have placed me on a tree and tied me, or just for her to be able to to be able to do whatever she was doing on the farm. But I think women need to be promoted. And the only problem I have sometimes is the ministry they call Ministry of Gender. I'm not sure why there is a separate Ministry of Gender. And I'm not sure which gender they cater to other than female. But I think there is a need for women participation. There's a need for equality in pay. There's a need for women participate, especially in politics. My view is that when women are elected, most of the time they are much better leaders in terms of caring for people than men, because we can see it in this particular government that a lot of the guys in government only care about flying from place to place with their concubine and having good time as opposed to caring. Most women will rather care for their family and provide for them and do whatever it takes for their family to survive. And so they do that for society also. So I believe in women equality and their right to be on equal par with men in any and every society, especially in Liberia.
If you want to join the discussion, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791401.
I saw that video. I remember a couple of years back when I used to be active on the online radio thing and all. I said, wouldn't it be nice if we had because you can sit here, we have the smart boards. You can sit there and have those, because I see people back home that calling from different counties. And I said, wouldn't it be nice to have those smart boards in the different churches? It doesn't have to be a school, different churches or major buildings in the little counties, where you can have the adult women and men go to, even go to school 3 times a week and just learning basic, language, basic education, all that. So that way they'll be more inclined to have their children go to school, and the children can go to school too. It doesn't have to be, formal schooling where they go to school doing it, because I know that they have to work on the farm and do that. Because I even said on my post, our African people, we celebrate poverty. I mean, it's like we celebrate it. Every picture you see of an African woman, she's got, a toddler on the side, she's pregnant, she's got a baby in the back, she's got something over her head and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. My grandmother worked hard too, because my grandmother, and her father died, she had to stop school and go work for her family to support her family. But when are we ever going to get past that the African woman doesn't always have to be the one with so many children? And you're thinking, I said, okay, also do they introduce birth control to these people or something, some way, so that if you can't afford to have any more kids, that you're not having more kids and putting yourself into poverty, because we have to start establishing generational wealth. And African people, we have all the religion and all, and say, the poor person can enter heaven farther than the rich person. Okay, we understand all that. I'm not putting down religion, but it's got to get to a point where we have to look past the African woman, glorifying her with babies, some of them children that she cannot take care of, and no other form of progressing in life. That's my thing. When it comes to women's empowerment, that's one of the things I care so much about. I'm so passionate about. And by the way, I'm getting tore up in these comments.
I read it. I was just like,
thank you.
Yes. But Dennis, I want to chime in on your.
Hold on, Tevina. Let's get an overseas color here.
Why are the comments appearing?
Because he blasting the comment section.
Call your name and where you calling from.
My name is J. Michael Weir, and I call you from Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay, J. Michael Weir, welcome to Focus on Liberia. What catch your heart?
What catches my heart is you just imagine Liberia as a country, very small. We still don't have good roads. 3 months ago, I sent some money to purchase a mattress for my mother. And that mattress has not reached the Sando County 3 months, because of bad roads. You just imagine. So where are we heading? So you found that after every 6 years we go to election. So why do we go to election if there are no changes in our country? Then secondly, another thing that catches my heart, you were discussing about journalists previously.
Yeah.
Now the fact that in Liberia, most of the radio stations are owned by politicians. So the professionalism you are talking about, you wouldn't get the professionalism, because if politicians are the one that are paying the media practitioner, sponsoring the radio stations, the print media and the electronic media, you wouldn't see them balancing the story, because the journalist who is working for politician X wants to maintain his or her job. So how will he go and balance story. He cannot balance the story. So you see, so I believe that the PUL or the Ministry of Information needs to come up with a strong regulation to determine who should own radio station, who should own media houses in Liberia. If that is addressed, then we will have some level of professionalism in the media arena in Liberia.
Michael, let me ask you a question. Yes, people normally don't trust the government. For instance, if you give the government chance to accredit or license people, if you got a big mouth on the government, they're never going to give you license, right? So that's the another flip side of it. They are even taking it. They are even taking away the frequency of certain radio stations if you are so critical of government. What do we do?
But I'm in Kenya. On no condition that you will function as a media institution, that you will have a private organization to regulate media institution in the country. No, I have not seen that. All the countries I've visited. Okay. You understand? So the government is responsible for those issues. Then lastly, before I leave the land, you see, the University of Liberia, which is the highest university in Liberia, needs to stop this issue. I believe in human rights, but there is too much militancy in learning in Liberia now. You understand? Yeah. You find out that people will not go to classes. I will say. That is why when most of us graduate, we are giving jobs. Right? So that's another flip side of it. Yes.
You are listening to the show, Michael. Michael, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we heard Michael. If you don't mind, I can bring in one more caller before you come in, Tabina.
Please. Go ahead.
Caller, your name and where you calling from?
This is Ali calling from Maryland. How are you?
Ali, welcome to Focus on Liberia. What catch your heart?
Well, a couple of things. The first thing that really catch my heart is the issue of establishing or revisiting our identity as Africans and as Liberians. Until Liberian people actually establish the fact of who they are as people, first of all, we're not getting nowhere. I have some very serious revolutionary mindset, and a lot of it has to do with our identity. And first, we must start with nomenclature. This is tough to say. It's very ironic and unfortunate that people who consider themselves some sort of European Liberian do not like to listen to the conversation of identity. But we have to talk about it. We have to go back to the root of the society, change the country back to what it really was before the Elizabeth and other shit hit the show.
How do we do that, Aliu?
And once we get...
How do we do that?
Well, it's a national conversation. We have to do that. It's easy. The government, we have to start with the government, the people, and then the government, the House of Legislature. The president, first of all, has to have that sort of mindset. I believe that there's some. Look, let me tell you, the Liberian people have been disenfranchised from the get-go, from the 1822. When you come to Montserrat County, now you call Montserrat County, and meet two people there, Pele people and Bassa people. Both of them, in their language, name the place after a river, the Bassa message to go, the Pele message to call. And you come and change it to Monrovia. Disregarding the fact that they were there for years before you came there. And all of these curses are surrounding us in that country. We need to find our identity. We want, at one point, we want to be Europeans. At another point, we want to be Americans. And then we want to be Africans. So you can't have it all the way. You have to give up on it. You got to be who you are.
Thank you, Tony.
We're not only going to do that through nomenclature. We also want to do that through our culture, through tradition. We have to go back to who we are. And let me just say this before I leave.
30 seconds.
Look, Liberian women have not, if you travel around Africa, Liberian women are one of the best treated women in just the sub-region of the Mangere Union or West Africa. Liberian men are the ones who normally will stand up on a bus for their women to sit down. There is no agency or company in Liberia that hires men and women and pay men more than women. It has never happened in the history of Liberia. Okay, now we may say it's been difficult for women to get jobs. There is not equilibrium in that respect.
Thank you.
When a man and a woman is hired for the same job, the woman and the man makes equal amount of money. So don't bring that your woman man thing. And we're even trying to get rid of the gender ministry because there's no reason for the gender ministry.
That's a different conversation we'll have. Yeah, the gender ministry is not for women alone, though. But anyway, thank you for your call.
So we go back all the way back to 1822 or before that, and then reinvent the entire wheel, go way past all the 2 countries, then come all the way here before we can say, oh, you need the hospital to be referred, you need fire service, why do you have to reinvent the wheel? And then he talks about, there's people trying to be this, we have to be this, we have to be that. And people say, oh yeah, they're impressed with my English, but how many jobs have I created? Is it wrong to be able to speak English? I didn't know that was something.
You are reading the comments and responding. What time for comments?
You get distracted.
I don't want you to be distracted.
I'm enjoying them.
Let them express their legal rights.
Same thing. It's the same thing I got when I was on those Liberian forums. Trust me, I'm used to it. I got that when I was in the Liberian forums. And when I sat there, when I used to sit there and talk about George Weah and I had his right to run, people used to call me his girlfriend, his this, his that. When I started talking against him, then I became the elitist and the Congo woman child. So trust me, I'm used to all that.
So Celeste, I want to chime in on the thing I catch your eye about the women issue. Obviously, that particular topic is near and dear to my heart. Women empowerment and just having a seat at the table. And so it's important. I mean, obviously, that we, the environment we come from is a patriarchal culture, but we're making great strides. I think we're making great strides having Madame Salif in power, serve as a role model. I'm not a fan of her government, but just having a woman in power, I think it helped a whole lot. Because now a lot of people try to say, oh, well, if she can get there, I can do it too. And then having some women in the house. But I think we need to do more on that, encouraging more people to stand up. Most of our women feel like they belong in the kitchen. They feel they belong in the back. They come to function, and the first thing they do, they go in the corner and hold a bag like this. And then even if they see 4 or 5 men having a discussion, they cannot even freely go there and join the conversation if he intimidated. If men can have a conversation, I can join in and say something.
Oh, I know that for a fact.
Find a space there and find a way there. And sometimes I'm saying that even to friends that even when they go out and they ask, husband and wife to go make a statement on behalf of the family, the woman will say, that a man go talk. Like you're not bold or educated enough to represent your family. I'm taking that back. So I know it goes way back from, us, the culture, but I think we're getting better and more empowerment will help us, do better. And like some of the things that my organization, the Liberia Section of Gender-Based Violence, amongst other things, we have taken very seriously. And so we're into the schools now. Since last year, and we're empowering the new generations. I mean, in Liberia, when I say schools, not in America, so y'all get me right. When y'all be asking what we're doing here, we're in the schools in Liberia, and we're empowering the kids there to be able to speak up, not only about rape and gender violence, but also that they're enough and they can speak up. They don't belong the last row in the chair. I mean, in the classroom, they belong in the front seats. Everywhere they belong in the front seats. And if they're having a hearing at the Capitol, they're able to go there and speak up about the things that concern them. So and we're hoping that with technology and shows like this, that people will get empowered to speak up, and even at work, even in America, be able to take over,
Tabi, please hold on. Let me get
I'm done.
International caller. They are calling my phone directly. So 2 calls I can take. Go ahead. Your name and where you calling from? Go ahead. Yes.
This is very
Yeah, this is Barry Alfred Walker. I am calling you from Dubai.
Okay, Mr. Walker, go ahead. What catch your heart?
Anyway, Mr. J, this is my first time calling on this show. I live in Dubai here. But there is something, the gentleman that is sitting there with the orange, okay, if I may forget his name a little bit, but I just want to say something and then so like buttress his argument in which he's mostly basing on the government and what I feel. But I want to tell him something. I want to tell the Liberian people.
Before you tell him, is there anything that catch your heart you want to talk about?
Yeah. This is what catches my heart.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what I want you to know, and then a question to the both of them here, the lady up there. Okay, first of all, we are all Liberian. Since they've been in the United States, how many companies have you ever taken into your community that you were born in? There is one thing you must understand.
Thank you.
Okay, education has nothing to do with riches. Education has nothing to do with riches or the mindset of an individual or a country.
Dennis, please permit us to answer that man's question.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you. Anything else? We got your point. Anything else?
You are cutting me off.
No.
This is a problem for everybody.
I know you. No, go to the next point. You already expressed the first one. Go to the next point.
Okay, but this is my major point, and I want to rectify some doubts and some words and statements that the book of are making.
Okay.
Why you keep cutting me off, sir?
No, I'm not cutting you. I want you to be brief. Okay, go ahead. You take best.
Okay, now, what I'm saying to you here is short. This country, Liberia, we should not really look at this president to sit down and say, oh, this president is going to do this, going to do that. As I said here, I got 37 to 38 workers at my disposal as I'm speaking to you.
Okay.
Through my effort, I was able to take a company from Korea and Japan and then take it there and build a hotel there. And I got a farm there in Harrisburg. Okay? It has nothing to do with the government.
Thank you.
You sit in America there, you sit down and then you keep talking about the government.
Thank you.
How many rural the children are going to school? How many banks are there? The schools?
Thank you.
The school.
Thank you, sir.
Recently, I just said it, we didn't lose protector. I just said it. How many of you people ever, but you only waiting for the government?
So end it now so we can answer your question.
They won't be, they can't finish.
All right. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. Because other people they're calling. But I'm not able to accept their call because you're on the phone. So thank you. You can listen to your response on the show, okay? Thanks so much for calling.
You just keep calling me. Oh man.
Oh God. Go. Anybody want to take that?
I don't even know where to begin. Go ahead, sister.
Okay, the main thing is, what are you doing in Liberia? What projects? You are only talking.
Yeah. So Abby, you want to go? You can go. I can go after.
I mean, I don't. People saying how many jobs have I created? And I don't have a private organization in Liberia. I don't run businesses in Liberia, and I also am not a government to be able to make the environment conducive for private companies to come in. There were many times people say, can you please come back home and help out or volunteer your time? I said, I will come back. I said, I'm going to volunteer my time to Liberia up to a point, and then I have to get paid. You think my expertise is just supposed to be in vain, or I'm just supposed to first of all, I do a lot of in charity over here, and I also do a yearly annual and I do my health fair. I also have a health blog. I've also contributed to many other charities in Liberia. I always say that not everybody can be on the mission field. Okay, not everybody can be. There are a lot of people. You see people who in Liberia who are running NGOs and doing that. There are a lot of people in the background who pay money, who give money on behalf of those people to be able to run those organizations. So have that in mind when you say that, and they always come after the women. That's the reason why some women don't like to get into these conversations, because men will always come after the women. We can
handle it.
Come after the women. Like I said, I give my thing on Liberian Forum, so don't come at me because I can defend myself. Okay, as long as it's not personal, I can defend myself.
Thank you, Abby. Let me take another overseas caller.
No, but I like to answer the gentleman though.
Yeah, just
overseas callers.
Yeah, the overseas.
that mini salmon eyes, right?
no, it looks like this one from Australia. Call your name and where you calling from.
Please.
Hi everyone. My name is Mohammed Dukle. I'm calling from Sydney, Australia.
I knew it.
Yeah.
What catch your heart, Dukle?
What catch my heart is two things. First one is the way politics is practiced in Liberia, and for a long time we've been told, for those people who are in the trauma area, they've told us that when the country goes through war, there can be a collective trauma. Unless there's a healing process, we can never be able to function effectively. And then when someone sees him or herself in Liberia doing what they're doing, they think that things are normal. No, we're fooling ourselves. No, healing has not taken place. We are functioning within the context of our emotional brain. As long as we're doing that, our executive brain will not function fully. You think you're being so smart. Yeah, there could be individual differences, but the collective context we are in is impacting us. So I really want to...
Thank you, Dukle. Just wrap it up.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, no problem. And I wouldn't go beyond this. I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you. Let me listen to Akaros Gray. Honorable Gray, what catch your heart?
Lord, he being dying.
I don't know what to ask. Good evening to you.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock here. Yeah. So
he's my friend.
What catch your heart, sir?
Yeah.
Basically, I just wanted to make a few points and corrections because your guests have made some strong allegations with all and then prima facie a strong backing.
Please, English, please.
I just want to point to one of the points, few of the points.
Yeah.
Our great male guest made a very, very uninformed and unimaginable statement when he said legislators are making up to $15,000. That is United States dollars. I think this is a gross misinformation.
Okay.
Not that I think, but this is the fact. Let me speak from the standpoint of the House of Representatives, not the Liberian Senate. The House of Representatives harmonize the salaries.
Honorable Gray, can you be as brief as possible?
Okay, I wish I had some time because I don't want to
come back and be a guest.
We can have a whole show. The place is open for you.
1 minute, no problem.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Okay.
No member of the House of Representatives makes more than 6,500 net pay currently under this administration, with the cut by the House. I think this information has not been properly disseminated. No minister in this government makes more than $6,000 or managing director, unlike in the past when people make $20,000 to $30,000 or $15,000 or $25,000. I thought to make those points because he's not properly informed about that.
Okay.
I can send to him directly what we make. The next thing is that people are addressing the issue of the health sector. I don't want to raise these points. Now, under this administration, because you talk something about leadership, nothing less than 2,000 health workers who have volunteered as services under the past administration that were not in government payroll were incorporated by this administration on full payroll. That is leadership. Somebody raised the issue of medical doctors being sent up. It's a very strong point. Nothing less than 80 medical doctors have been sent out of Liberia by this administration.
Okay.
You raise the issue of leadership under salary structure. Directors, for example, and some civil servants that were making 8,000, none of them makes that money.
Thank you,
money,
sir.
let me tell you, is redirected to rehabilitation of roads, construction of roads, the highest number of paved or rehabilitated feeder roads in the history of the country.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Leadership. You want to give me just 30 seconds?
All right, 30 seconds. We want you to come back. So go ahead.
No, it's a good thing because we're talking about leadership and Western government.
Yeah.
Because you raise the issue about corruption or political corruption embedded in laws of the Republic of Liberia. It's unfortunate that I think your guests are not properly informed on some of the gains being made by the administration. You talk about leadership under George, we are a national team. I think he made an error for the first time in the history of the country. The national team qualified to 2 African Cup of Nations. Since George Weah left the team, he has never qualified. I'm talking about to the finals of the African Cup of Nations.
Maybe he didn't lay the right foundation. I said maybe he didn't lay the right foundation. That's why since he left, they don't qualify yet.
No.
You say no. All right. No. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Conclude.
And as technical director.
Okay.
Now, you know, when you begin to point out individuals, the thing in Liberia is that imagination is a very important issue as a talk show.
Yeah.
Is it because you know these guys? Is it because you interacted with them? Are they not making genuine legitimate salaries, for example? If Liberia had been a country where
Honorable Gray, can you wind it down? Can you conclude now, sir?
Yeah, I'm concluding.
Okay.
Look, I don't find no education. I'm an educator, man. But Liberia has some of the most educated characters in the history of the world that have governed this country. Before George Weah administration or even Ellen Jones study, you look at the capital city of Monrovia, with all the resources, with all what we find with the level of education. Early, like it says, early leadership brought a resemblance of leadership. But look at the deficit left. Our summer concession agreement, I never voted for one. Only 2 was being qualified.
Thank you, sir.
What's the employment rate one of our administration as compared to that?
Jesus.
I hope we can have a time to have a window-length debate on
exactly.
the matters.
Yeah.
And we can have the same guests there so that every point in the race we can correct them
Definitely.
on the basis of the gains that are being made.
Let's do it.
I got a question for Mr. Gray.
Can I? The man then I mean call his own show, man.
I got a question for.
Hold on, guys. It's over. So Tavina, you wanted to respond because everyone has not told us what Ketch has had. So Tavina,
yeah, I wanted to respond to the caller that asked, what are we doing in Liberia, or what companies we have established. You know, this is the one thing that they all come after you when you're not singing the regular song and doing the kumbaya and holding hands. You know, the fact that we can take time off our Sunday, we all work, we're all professional people, and come and discuss the state of the nation and everything, that's even enough. You can't pay off for time and services. So appreciate us, if not for anything, for doing this. Because by us verbalizing these things, I will hope that people like Akara's Gray, other people will take notes so that they can do better every day in the line of work that they do. But, you know, some of us don't take pride in talking about the things that we do in Liberia because we come from that biblical point where they say when you do good, your right hand shouldn't know what your left hand is doing. But because you asked, I mentioned before, probably you were not listening. We have an organization in Liberia that is focused on women, registered in Liberia and America, focused on women empowerment. Yes, we speak about gender issues. We hold the government feet to the fire, specifically gender ministry. They all know us, you know, and we're doing that. We're also working with safe homes. We had parties with them last Christmas. We gave gifts to other people. We help victims, you know, to get back on their feet, victim of sexual or gender violence. And even now, with the COVID and even because of COVID, the spike in gender violence, like I said before, we are into schools, into communities, doing awareness. It is all self-funded, not government-funded. We're in America, and we're doing that in Liberia. So give us some credit and cut us some slack since you want us to list some things. But even if that don't count, the fact that we're taking our time to be here, that is enough, in my opinion.
Definitely, you are correct.
So I want to speak to Akara's. 30 seconds, please.
Okay.
No, I appreciate him coming, to talk, and he's fond of going from platform to platform and trying to counter what people do, which is fine. We're built for that. We're a different kind of women. We're not intimidated about anybody. But I will tell you, when I said that, what catch my heart was the state of the nation, the outrage, and just the state of that was just a global statement. I wish we had time, and I wish we can do so many other series so we can talk about the fire, we can talk about the fraud, waste, and abuse. We can talk about the confessed criminal of 300,000 that confessed and he got only slapped on the wrist of suspension. We can talk about the roadmap that is not fully implemented and all the timelines. We can talk about just the overall system, no structure. We can peel the onion until we get to the core of the onion. But I'm looking at the time and we want our 28 minutes. So Akaras, I'm hoping that you will come back again. I don't know about Abby. I will be here. I will make time for you because I like to have a discussion with you.
Yeah, so I will reach out to him. So I will reach out to him to organize that.
I'm done.
Abraham, we're sorry you've been struggling coming in and out. What catch your heart?
Well, again, I want to say sorry to the panelists being in and out. So I just want to say
sometimes tell that.
Well, before I say what is on my heart, I want to respond to Representative Gray. Gray is noted for jumping here and there, and trying to defend. Gray is being very disingenuous. He knows that he talking about, the government harmonizes the salary of legislators and all that kind of thing. He makes $6,000. Representative Gray have been at the lower house for years, and he know how much he made prior to the quote unquote harmonization that they did, right? So he knows exactly what he was making at the national legislature. He was making almost in the neighborhood of $13,000 to $15,000. All of his different benefits, all of the different benefits that he gets, gas slaves and all of the different things was not caught, were not harmonized during early administration. He knows that they were not harmonized during early administration. Besides that, his the 30K that they just took, they took it throughout during early administration. They took that 30K throughout during early administration. He knows that. So to come on the platform and talk about
that's why he said net pay. He said net pay. So he's not counting the other other allowances.
That's why I said he'd be disingenuous, because the taxpayer pay you both in Liberian dollar and
you need to look at gross and not net, because that's the gross. He gross more than $6,000. He needs to go back to accounting of 101.
And besides that, you're right. And besides that, all of the different benefit he gets, if you accumulatively calculate all of those and put into and attach dollar value to all of those, right? You talking about in the number of $15,000. What are you talking about? We all know what is in the budget. We've seen that. So for Akara's going to come up here and talk about the harmonizing, he makes $6,000 and nobody talking about it and all that kind of thing. So nobody on the platform are going to be the PR for the 99. They are corrupt House of Representatives and senators.
You will come back, Abraham.
So let you not come here and waste the people time talking about recounting gains and all those kinds of things. Nobody knows. There's not a child's play here. You can't be the same thing he does in Liberia on the radio station, pass around, and lady sweet talks and all the kinds of things and so forth. He comes here and talking about he can't be disingenuous. I don't want to respond to him, just in passing. But he knows the very great man.
Abraham, leave the great thing. What can you have?
I actually wanted to respond to all of the things he just said, piece by piece, so that he can know that we know that some of the things we're doing.
He will come back. Hopefully, he will come back.
All right, but what is on my heart? What is on my heart is before Abby before I left Abby talked about something about the leaders in the country, the Liberian people are kind of tired. They just want to they fed up. They just tired and they say, what? They just do whatever they want to do. you know, and it brings them to the point where what
You see?
Oh God, he waited so long.
Was he in Liberia?
No, that was my fear all along.
Oh.
All right, Abby, you go and respond to. There's another caller on the. Maybe I should bring in this caller, right?
Yeah, bring the caller in.
Yeah, but you know the question about what you do in America. Let read few comments here. Othello, now you sitting in America, talking nothing is not important to liberal people. Maybe you, something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
After say, with all the education degree you guys have in the U.S., what have it impacted in your society?
That he don't watch the video again.
So, okay, Ibrahim is back.
I mean, I don't know what is going on my phone. I just got it.
Abraham, what catch your heart?
I just got a phone. I mean, a couple of days ago, but I don't know what's going on with it. Well, so yeah, that's why on my heart, right? Before I go up again. So,
you poor bottle, who said it?
Bam language education is extremely important then when it comes to the building of Liberia. Notwithstanding, where Liberia stands today, education is not the key to opening the doors of opportunities for making Liberia a very decent and organized environment.
Seriously.
Sipa Rumi, Abigail, I'm impressed by your English, but how many jobs have you created in the private sector? I'm concerned.
I cannot respond to.
It's not his business.
That's the reason why women don't like to come into stuff. They either go after that or our womanhood.
Dennis, promoting raising the capacity of women in our society will have an exponential effect on the entire country, but all projects and exercises should have well-established goals and objectives, data-driven and guided by metrics. Those are a few of your comments. Let's give Abraham another try. You say 3 years of charm.
I mean, I don't know. For some reason, my phone just keeps going in and out. But listen, I was just talking about pick.
Hey God.
No food does not like him.
Hey God.
He doesn't like him.
That food is corrupt. Send it back.
So Dennis, on a serious note, please set up a program where we can just leave about Tara's Gray and have this conversation, because he created a situation where he think he's gonna go to his CDC people and say, I dealt with those people. They didn't even have anything to say. So
let you bring the budget first. When he come in, he'll bring the budget.
We'll bring statistics to tell him how much money he's making and why he came to America to buy even a vehicle for him to take to Liberia. If he doesn't have an account here to say that you will have a credit the vehicle. So I'm not sure what he's talking about. We'll have another day to talk about those things. But
exactly.
I'm asking Kara's great to also bring the current budget. He must bring the draft budget when he come in with dissected line by line.
I got a caller on the line.
Hello, my name is Talvina Cole. I am an activist, and you're watching Focus on Liberia.
All right, we have a caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you're calling from.
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm Jerome Gibman. I'm calling from South Florida. Beautiful show, ladies. My question is more about geopolitics. Seeing what's happening in Afghanistan, where the Taliban have just taken over and they are reversing women's rights. Women should now be educated. And this has international flavor to it. We have our Islamic community in Liberia, and they tune into some of these things. How do you think this will impact women's education and the gains through the alien administration that we have made on women's rights in Liberia?
All right. Let me bring in our last caller for the night. Caller, your name and where you calling from? 1988, your last 4 digit. Go ahead. You're alive. 512-745-1988. What catch your heart?
Texas, Theophilus Hodges.
Go ahead. What catch your heart?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. John Tanko. Yes, sir.
Go ahead. We're listening.
Thank you, Mr. John, for accepting my call.
Go ahead. We're listening.
What touched my heart is all the information that the government then say, all the development.
What?
Thank you. Thank you. You said what catches his heart is the development and all the good things the government is doing. Thank you so much.
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Don't put words in the
Oh, sorry. That's what I heard. I thought you said all the development of the government. What catch your heart?
That's not what I say.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
Good. No.
Say it.
No, so, Mr. Job, what I'm trying to say is the government has been lying to the Liberian people with all the development that they say they carry on. Because, for typical example, I just went to Liberia last year, and all the roads are terrible.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We are almost out of time, but thanks for your call. What catches heart is the government has been lying about development. For example, the roads, when he went,
back in Ellen time, the same CDC people used to call it political roads, where you fix the road, you have a big celebration, and then like a year later, the roads, like, because it wasn't maintained, it wasn't built, up to standard, and before you know it, it's already ruined. So that's basically what he's talking about, these political roads. And I see some of the roads is like, one time I was talking, there's a house is right there, and the road is right there. There's literally no sidewalk. You can literally walk out of your door and step on the road. How is that safe?
Thank you. Let's go around the room now and give our concluding statement. We're way out of time.
No, but Dennis, we need to answer the main question about the one geopolitics and how what's the way forward for
sorry
women.
About that.
For what the way forward for women empowerment?
No, you're right. Sorry about that. Let's go and answer that question and then respond to the last caller.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Tavina, if you want.
Oh yeah, I think the way forward is just awareness. It's just a way of silencing us. That's all, and seeing that we, to my point of we belong in the back and in the kitchen and what, and So the way forward is just creating more awareness. Starting from the pre-K or kindergarten. The moment the kids can talk and reason, start talking to them about these things, so they grow up feeling that way, and then it just goes on from generation to generation. So I mean, awareness all around. Awareness is just the way forward.
And to add to that, even starting in our own families, we have nieces, we have mothers, we have wives, we have significant others. Treat them the way you want, you want to be treated. Abby, you want to respond to the question or the comments?
You mean what she did about Afghanistan?
You got Honorable Gray, you have Jerome who called, and then the last caller. Anyone you want to respond to?
I covered Grace. Grace said he's going to come back,
this
right?
This is the summary of what he's saying. The ladies are doing well tonight, but are not knowledgeable about government gains. Laugh out loud. I never bought car, man, in the US or anywhere, man. This is the kind of information we will come to rubbish, brother. Hope you are available on Saturday side. This Saturday, ladies, we're putting one show together where Mr. Gray will be here, and let's talk it. Go ahead, Abby.
Great.
Yeah, Carol Gray can pay me, I'll come. I just joking.
Abby, did you freeze? Tony, what's your take?
I think that the issue in the the Islamic nation of Pakistan will have no bearing on Liberia. Liberia is a society that has come quite a bit in terms of women empowerment. We have schools that cater to our girls from the Islamic community, and so we will continue to help with the kind of exposure that Telvi and her team have in Liberia to educate our people so that they can continue to be in school. But I don't believe that the geopolitics in that particular region of the world will have any impact on Liberia. Of course, we cannot for sure say that you know what they are doing is in isolation of Liberia because this is a global community. But I want to believe strongly that Liberia has gained enough um, uh, uh, around independence to the extent that our Muslim community they know exactly what to do. This is why we have a lot of our people from the Muslim community graduating from college and even holding good positions in government. We check even the we are government. I'm sure that there are some of them with good education who are working with the government. So this is not to discount what is happening in Afghanistan. I feel for the people there, and I just don't know why things are happening the way they are happening. I am disheartened to even see what they are doing. But my fear is why is the government not putting on any fight against these people? It looked like they were in all along that they just come and ride over the leadership because some of them are negotiating with the Taliban to take over their city. So I don't quite understand what's going on there. So again,
let's just give us your closing comments now, Tony. Let's start with you.
Oh, my closing comment. I think that the lack of leadership in Liberia is a major contributing factor to the situation we have today. And so Greg can go all along and praise the government, but we will deal with that later. But I think that come 2023, Liberians should unite to take over their country from these people are called gangsters, complete gangsters who are just looting the resources and making sure that they sit tight. And we need to make sure that the next election we don't elect people based on popularity because the leadership of a country is not about popularity. It must be about what they know, what they're capable of doing. This is why the region around us elect people who have the technical know-how. And you don't necessarily have to be a PhD in order to rule a country, but you must have the necessary understanding of leadership of country. And if you don't have that, this is what we have in Liberia. So let's focus on how we can regain our country by participating in the coming electoral process. Let's join the team that will actually transform the country. And I will discuss the details of that comment another show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Abby, your final comments?
Well, it was, really heated conversation. I had a good time. I was, able to give my points and things that catch my heart. And I enjoy the comments from the listeners. It's just that when you sit there and you talk about things and want to get in the conversation, discussing, people say too much talking not going to change Liberia. Well, you have to talk about these things, put them into writing and implement them and carry them. You things don't just happen like that. And when people bring in out things, and I always tell people, you can tell that my concerns are genuine because when Ellen was there, I talked about these very things that I'm talking about now. So it has nothing to do with George Weah or whoever and all that too. It's more about the people who are suffering in Liberia. And I got family members there. I have friends there. So when people think I'm so just far removed from everything that's going on in Liberia, no, I have family members there. And Liberia is my homeland. So whether you like it or not, you can call me whatever. I don't care. I'm going to keep talking.
Thank you, Abby. Davina?
Well, I think it was a good conversation, and I think it should be ongoing because there, a lot going on in Liberia, and a lot of things will catch our heart every day. I mean, as the rate things are going, we may as well talk about it as often. So I'm looking forward to the next discussion if I'm available. Obviously, I love to be a part. You know that. But I like to. I want to speak to Mr. Gray again. Now, if just 30 seconds in closing, we appreciate his comment that we're doing great on the show, but also to make a statement that we don't know about the government gains. That's a wrong assumption. We know that the government is building roads and doing roads that projects that the last government had in place or started, and which is fine because government is continuity. So it's fine. So we're not going to be PR for the government. We're not going to be singing the government praise. We put the praise where the praise belong, and it will say as it is, you know. So I hope you're able to handle that. So we appreciate your comments, but we look to having that conversation with you next time. You know, if we're available, certainly I will make time for you. I love for us to talk about, you know, government, because I'm well read, I'm well researched, and I'm in the know of what's going in Liberia, including the budget and the allocations. So let's and that's it. I appreciate your listeners. They could have been doing something better with the time, that they took the time to come and listen to the discussion. Certainly appreciate them. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank all of you for taking up time to share with us what catch your heart, and even our audience, the viewers, even those who are going to watch later. Thanks for spending the time with us. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to have Mr. Ava Tokba will be here. He's the new COS for Mr. Cummins, so he's going to sit with me on Tuesday at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss that. Then on Wednesday, Dr. Joseph Tumumbaba is going to be here to talk about his peace project that his group, the Dati Kukatono project, what they are working on. That will be Thursday. Saturday, we're going to have Dr. Tipote, a conversation with Dr. Tipote on Friday during the literary hour. You don't want to miss all those exciting shows. Keep your dial set and focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Until then, whether something catch your heart or not, whether you are for the government or not for the government, whatever side you're on.
I'm pro-Liberia. Pro-Liberia.
We all
Liberia. Keep Telvi to continue to advertise, focus on Liberia. I think she make a great presentation on behalf of the organization.
Until then.
We're talking behind the scene. I'm not a public speaker though. I had to do that.
I mean, it's unique. I like that.
I'm an introvert, but thank you. I take the compliment. It takes so much to be out here.
I know.
Right.
Thank you.
And whether you like the camera or not, we are still Liberians, and we must do whatever it takes to make our country what it's supposed to be. Good night, and God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Liberia is our home. Liberia people, Liberia.